Hello, my name is John Sims with the Avaya Serviceability Engineering Team. This video is about continuous log collection and replay using System Status Application on Avaya IP Office and Avaya B5800 Branch Gateway. Before we get started with the demonstration, first a few notables. System Status Application, otherwise known as SSA, is a user-friendly monitoring tool included as part of the IP Office B5800 Admin Suite. SSA can monitor both local and remote core units, and SSA has the unique ability to capture continuous log data for future offline replay review in the form of a system continuous log file, which will save as a .slo file with or without full system configuration. There is one quick security aspect to cover, so in the Manager client we're going to go to Advanced Security Settings and pull a security configuration off this core unit into the Manager client. Once that configuration is now displayed, we're going to head to the rights groups, and you'll see there's a System Status rights group. It's here under a System Status group that we have the ability to set whether we have System Status Access and Read All configuration. Both are required not only to run System Status, but also to be able to pull a configuration and include it in our system status efforts with snapshot and continuous log. So you'll see as we're checking here in the administrator group, which is what we'll use today, we are in fact members of the system status group. So now it's time to run SSA, or System Status Application, in the IP Office Program group. We'll select the icon. It'll launch the thick Java client application. First, we'll then set what core unit we want to pull data from by IP address. We'll leave the default port alone. Local IP address setting is useful if you know you want to bind this application to a specific local IP address. We'll leave that set to automatic to make a selection based on the IPs available on the PC client system. Then we'll feed in the proper login credentials and of course select log on. Once we log on, you'll see that it'll pull data from the core unit, the IP Office or B5800 core unit, into the application itself. Once in the application, we see some of the details become available that we are running against an IP500, a release 7 patch level release, and we're running in IP Office mode. So now it's time to take a unique snapshot of the system called continuous log. So we'll select snapshot at the top toolbar, and then we have two options. We have the option for snapshot only and continuous log. We'll select continuous log. Now you have the option to include the switch configuration, which can be displayed in Manager, but we'll unselect that option for this demonstration. We'll click OK, and we have our parameters to set up. We'll tell it to log to file. We'll tell it to roll the file over at midnight. And we could in fact tell it to go ahead and select every certain megabyte size, but in this case, and we have a 500 megabyte limit on the system that's been set as well to not let the file grow larger than that. Again, we like our default file where it's host name, date, and time, and it's a .slo file this time. Just note that extension, and we'll click save. And now it's starting to spool all logging tracing information into this file. So SSA cannot be used for any other operation at this point. It's locked down in this mode of continuous log, writing data to the log file, collecting all inputs, outputs of the system into this log file. So if I were to scroll over and start to try to use other functions of SSA, you'll see I'm locked out until we're done collecting trace information into this file. So in this case, I'll click log off and our trace collection is finished. So as it is with any snapshot file collected by SSA, we'll proceed to offline and then select the file. We're going to select the continuous log files, IP Office log files or .slo files, and pull this into the SSA application in offline review mode. At the top of the screen, we have a replay button. This replay button will bring up a player where we can select the various step-through speeds to step through the trace we have from 100 milliseconds to 1 second to 10 seconds, and you see me clicking 10 and 1 and 10 seconds to step through till we have an incoming call alerting call reference number 36, alerting extension 209. So we'll follow that through, and incoming calls you want to actually trace from the trunk to the extension. I will jump to the extension and select trace all, and again step through on the trace 1 second at a time, and you'll see again tracing information on this extension. Very helpful to show that we have a connection extension connected on extension 209. It's also in the active call log now as connected. Again, the call reference number exists, 36, and on the trunks as well we'll see a call reference of 36 is connected on the PRI trunk channel 1. So to continue on our tour of the replay functionality, on the replay panel I'm stepping through 10 seconds at a time, and we have another call appear that's being held. It has a call reference of 37. So we'll continue to trace this call. We'll go to the active calls and we'll slide down our replay panel. We'll see it's inbound again on the PRI channel to extension 209. And we see this call also exists on PRI channel number 2, call reference number 37, and we'll continue to step through 10 seconds at a time. Now we'll go and we can set a marker at any time, but I'll show that a little bit later. On extension 209 we'll hit the trace all button and we'll step through a second at a time, and now 10 seconds to get tracing information in under the extension. So under the extension trace window we have more important information. We see that a cause code 16 was sent into the switch for normal call clearing. So we're told that this call reference 37 was disconnected from the originator end, which means from the off switch calling party decided to disconnect from this call. So you see in the replay everything's grayed out. We're at the end of the trace segment. So we can now we can select start of the trace and select move to, and we'll start the trace over and try to find, let's say, a call that we've missed so far, call state or a call event that occurred. So we'll step through the trace again till we get to where we want to in the trace to find the right condition set we're looking for, and we'll continue to see now we actually have an outbound call on the PRI trunk, so that's what we were looking for on extension 209. So we'll set a marker here to mark this part of the trace so we can easily go back to this part of the trace as it's marked by time period. We can go back to this unique part of the trace at any time to retrace from that point. So we see we have another call reference that we're tracing on, and from when we're tracing outbound calls you want to trace from the extension out. So we see here we have a call reference 41 if we scroll down on the PRI channel list. So 41, we'll continue to now troubleshoot or trace on the call reference 41, which was an outbound call from extension 209 out through the PRI to off switch destination. So we'll hit trace all on the extension form again, and we'll step through the trace until we get all the appropriate tracing information in once again into the tracing window. So once again, using SSA and continuous log replay mode, we've been able to pull up some valuable tracing information under this extension. We see the switch received and responded back to a cause code 16 for a request for normal call clearing, and then it's validated that the disconnect of the call was from the destination end or the called party. Thank you for your time today. We hope this information was useful. We welcome comments, questions, and feedback at mentor@avaya.com or on Twitter @AvayaMentor. Thank you for choosing Avaya.